Hello lovely people, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're doing well. If you're new, my name is Marcella. So for today's video, I thought I would do something which I actually did nearly 2 years ago in the first lockdown, which is a book review. So if you watched my last video, you will know that one of my goals for 2022 is to read more books. So I thought doing these book reviews will help keep me accountable actually reading the books, so I can share them, because if I don't read them, I won't have any video to make. And also for anyone else who's also got a goal to read more this year, hopefully this will inspire you with some book ideas. And yeah. Little disclaimer, all these books actually are thrillers, but I will be sharing lots of different types of books moving forward. I'm actually reading Daisy May Cooper's book at the moment, which is obviously completely different, but I feel like sometimes when you want to really get into reading, you kind of get hooked onto like one particular genre and you end up just reading that again and again. So yeah, I am a fan of a thriller, but I will share other books in the future as well as thrillers because I just can't stop reading them. So all these reviews will be totally spoiler free. It's just basically me reading the blurb, telling you a bit about the kind of themes in the book and what I thought of it. So I'm going to start off with this one called Playing Nice, and the blurb says, Pete Riley answers the door one morning to a parent's worst nightmare. On his doorstep is Miles Lambert, who breaks the devastating news that Pete's 2-year-old Theo isn't Pete's real son. Their babies got mixed up at birth. Pete, his partner Maddie, and Miles and his wife Lucy agree that they'll find a way to share the boys, but a plan to sue the hospital unearths disturbing questions about what happened the day the babies were switched. And as two families' lives become more intertwined, Maddie and Pete have to decide how far will they go to make this work? How much can they trust the real parents of their child, or even each other? So that's actually quite an in-depth blurb. I feel like sometimes you just get like 5 words and you're like, what is it about? So that kind of tells you quite a lot about the story. So yeah, so basically there are 2 babies who are swapped at birth and these families discover it. I really liked the concept of this book. I thought it was an absolutely terrifying but really intriguing concept. And it was just like an interesting look at human behaviours and kind of the consequences of things people have done in their life and how they act. So yeah, love the theme of the book. It's definitely a like dark, suspenseful thriller. The only thing I did find was that the book did feel a little bit slow at times, so I didn't feel myself like picking up and reaching for it as much as like I wanted to. I'm fine with some other thrillers, but I did kind of like the book overall, so I'd probably give it like 3 out of 5 stars. Definitely worth a read. Kind of disturbing, but it was really interesting. On to the second thriller, and this is called The Chain by Adrian McKinty. And the blurb says, your phone rings, a stranger has kidnapped your child. To free them, you must abduct someone else's child. Your child will be released when your victim's parents kidnap another child. If any of these things don't happen, your child will be killed. Victim, survivor, abductor, criminal. You will become each one. You are now part of the chain. I realised actually these 2 books are both about like weird things happening to children. That was a complete coincidence. Actually I think I did read one after the other. Kind of weird. But again, I really liked the concept of this book. Like a really dark, proper like moral dilemma kind of like book. You think, oh my gosh, like what on earth would I do in that situation? I really enjoyed the first half of this book. It was like so suspenseful. I had no idea what was gonna happen. It was such a page turner. The second half of the book I didn't enjoy as much as the first half. I was still kind of enjoying the overall concept, but it kind of moved from like suspenseful thriller to kind of more of like a Hollywood movie style. It became a little bit predictable, and yeah, the ending was a little bit Hollywood movie. Overall, like again, a super interesting concept, super dark, and I'd probably give this 3 stars as well. The next book is Watching You by Jewell. She is one of my favourite authors. I love like her style of writing, her thrillers. I just think they're such like page turning books, really interesting concept. I really like her writing style as well. Like I just feel like her books are just always just so intriguing. So the blurb for Watching You says, you're back home after 4 years of working abroad. You're keen to find a place of your own, but for now you're crashing in your big brother's spare room. And then you meet the man next door. He's the head teacher at the local school, twice your age, extraordinarily attractive. You find yourself watching him all the time. You never dream that your innocent crush might become a deadly obsession, or that someone is watching you. So the themes in this book are like obsession, voyeurism, such a page turner. Like, her writing style just kind of gives so many twists and turns that you just like have to find out what happens next. The only kind of slight thing which stopped it from being a 5-star book and made it a 4-star book was that I felt like the character development towards the end kind of just trailed off a bit. I just kind of lost kind of who the characters were, but like so many twists and turns and surprises. Like, I really love a book which actually surprises me. I feel like I can guess quite a lot of endings, and this one definitely did that. So yeah, 4 stars for Watching You. Now, the next 2 books are both by Lucy Foley, who is quickly becoming another one of my favourite authors. So the first one I read was The Guest List. So many people recommended me this book, and I know why, because it is honestly amazing. So the blurb, it's quite short on this one, says, each has a secret, each has a motive. Off the windswept Irish coast, guests gather for the wedding of the year. Old friends, past grudges, happy families, hidden jealousies, 13 guests, one body. One guest won't leave this wedding alive. And it's actually described at the bottom of the book as a very modern Agatha Christie, secret and lies at every turn, which I think is the perfect way to kind of summarise this book. So basically there is a group of guests on a wedding in like this Irish island. It's like very remote, and there's kind of lots of secrets going on, lots of twists and turns, and so much of the stuff I just didn't see coming, which made it like a really, really enjoyable read. And in general, I really enjoy books which kind of share like each chapter from like a different character's perspective. I just think that kind of keeps the mystery and the intrigue, and also just keeps it interesting to read, because you're not just reading it kind of in like a one-dimensional way. You're reading kind of like lots of characters' thoughts. So yeah, really enjoyed this. I would give this book 4 stars. And then the final book, which like I said was another Lucy Foley book, is The Hunting Party. Kind of similar in the fact that there's like a group of guests somewhere kind of remote, and there is like a mystery. So yeah, you'll notice a bit of a theme here. But this is the blurb. In a remote hunting lodge deep in the Scottish wilderness, old friends gather for New Year. The beautiful one, the golden couple, the volatile one, the new parents, the quieter one, the city boy, the outsider, the victim. Not an accident, a murder among friends. So this is basically a modern murder mystery. And this book is actually set at New Year's, and I read it over like the New Year period, which just made it like even more interesting in a way, because it just felt like really relevant. It flips between a lot of different time periods as well, which just kind of keeps it interesting, keeps the intrigue. In a way, these books are kind of like similar. I feel like I read this book slower than I should have done. I feel like it's one of those books, like Lucy Foley books in general, are kind of the books you have to read quite quickly to kind of keep you interested, because they are like fairly long. They're like just under 400 pages, so they're like a fairly long kind of thriller. And so I do feel like if you read them more quickly, you get more of a payoff, more of an investment kind of in the characters. But if you kind of take a break from it for like a week, you are kind of like, wait, what's happening? And where it's flipping between the time periods, you're like, right, I need to go back and read what's happened to kind of keep in the kind of vibe. So yeah, although it's slightly longer, I would recommend kind of reading it more quickly to probably get more enjoyment out of it. But again, this was a really great thriller, another 4 stars. So that is my little thriller book review video. But yeah, I will definitely do more of these in the future, like I said, with a like bigger variety of books. Any book recommendations you have for me, please leave down in the comments. As you know, I love like a dark murder mystery style thriller book, but I like all genres of books. I want to read lots and lots this year, so let me know any recommendations you might have. And hopefully you enjoyed this video, hopefully it inspires you to read, and I will see you in my next one.